Hi everyone, welcome back once again to the channel. Today I obviously got a little spiffed up to talk about this very special and very anticipated film, Maestro, the second feature from director Bradley Cooper, starring Carey, Mulligan, and Bradley Cooper. This follows the marriage of Leonard Bernstein and his wife Felicia Montealegre, and shows the undeniable love that they had for one another and an enduring testament to the ups and downs of their marriage. And obviously this has been in the works for years. Originally Spielberg was going to direct this, but after he saw A Star Is Born, he told Bradley Cooper, "You have to do this." Now, to my knowledge, Bradley Cooper was always in contention to play Leonard Bernstein. That was always set in motion. But, you know, I will say about A Star Is Born, for those of you who don't know, I really, really like the film. I think the first half of the movie is amazing, but you know, his first time out as director, the structure and the pacing kind of falters by the second half, though it does really, really hit with the ending. And I can understand why Bradley Cooper was perhaps left out of Best Director that year, and I know that was the big snub that everyone was talking about. But honestly, with Maestro, I will say right off the bat that he definitely tops himself tenfold as a director. I mean, this is one of the most immaculately made films this entire year. Just mastercraft filmmaking from Cooper. The way he directs the camera, the way he directs the actors, everything about this is just so stylized and so beautiful in every single way. Very, very well put together from top to bottom, and on a technical standpoint, this is one of the absolute stunners of 2023, and it's really, really great to see Bradley Cooper reach this level of artistic status, and I honestly think he is deserving of a Best Director nomination right off the bat. I'm going to say that, whether I love this movie or not, that is one thing I certainly agree on, and yeah, would love to see if he got into more than one category, which I think there's a very strong chance of. But regardless, I mean, this was a passion for Bradley Cooper. He said many times at this point that conducting was something that always interested him, and you really see the dedication he pours into every single frame of this movie, whether it be the directing or whether it be the acting, because of course, you know, a lot of people are saying he is one of the front runners to win Best Actor at the Oscars next year, and I agree with that. Now, I will say at the beginning of the film, because this, you know, goes over, you know, many decades from the 40s all the way through to the late 80s, I do think at the beginning with the 40s, which I will get into, when it's like, oh, you know, this, you know, like the dialogue is very much trying to be delivered in a way that actors would have delivered it in the 40s, and I thought Bradley Cooper was a little bit over the top when this movie started, which is still why I think, you know, I would pick Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, or even Coleman Domingo for Rustin, who I think is going to inexplicably get snubbed this year, unfortunately, though I do hope he makes it in. I would definitely pick them over Bradley Cooper, but, you know, by the last half of this movie especially, he becomes Leonard Bernstein. I mean, just the mannerisms of his body, the voice. I mean, his voice really ages along with the character, and that's really hard to do. And people are giving us like, oh, he took 6 years to do one scene. Oh, he's trying hard for the Oscar. Yeah, he is. But at the same time, I think it's very well deserved if he did win. I mean, this is one of the most competitive Best Actor fields I've seen in a long time, because yet again, like, this man put in the work, and no one can take that away from him. I don't understand those criticisms at all. I think they're quite baseless, though I understand this is more of an Oscar-baiting performance, if you will, than some of the other performances we've seen this year, like Cillian Murphy and Oppenheimer, for instance. But my goodness, I mean, the emotional heights, the character depth that he gives to Leonard Bernstein as this very, very larger-than-life figure who had so many achievements to his name, and as he says, so much love to give to so many people. You really see the complications that arise with him being so open, and especially, you know, being a homosexual, or at least probably bisexual, at a time where that wasn't something that was really accepted in society. And obviously that factors in to his marriage with Felicia, played by Carey Mulligan. And look, as much as I love Bradley Cooper as an actor, as I said, I have a few reservations about him when this film starts. But Carey Mulligan, my goodness, this, quite honestly, is one of the absolute best performances of her career and of the year. Oh my goodness, I think she is far and away the best thing in this film. And just the layers that she gives to Felicia, you know, the vibrancy, the tenderness, the emotional heights that she takes Felicia in this film is so devastatingly real. I really feel like every single fiber of her being was poured into this performance. And yet again, talk about actors, you know, making you feel like they're going through physical pain. Carey Mulligan does that so well in this film, and just her whole internal struggle with the fact of her husband being who he is, the fact that essentially her entire life was sidelined to the altar of this, you know, almost mystical figure in American music, is really one that was almost self-imposed, but also really sort of selfish on Bernstein's part, as much as he did love her. I mean, this love, this is the definition of true love. The way that these two interacted with each other. The chemistry between Cooper and Mulligan is just off the charts insane, and you really get that endearing sense of these two soulmates that came together. And it is just so utterly beautiful, them chronicling this marriage in all its ups and downs. Like, really, you get some of the best scenes of conflict in this film. And I think it's very interesting that the intro to this film kind of leads off with Leonard Bernstein talking about conflict in the music itself. But I think it factors so much into the main dynamic between the two and their relationship here. And also the makeup in this film, my goodness, this might be the best aging I've ever seen done with makeup. You legitimately believe that these characters are as old as they are as the film moves along. It's such a natural transition, and the work here is so immaculate that I really don't see how this can lose Best Makeup and Hairstyling at the Oscars. Like, this is a shoo-in to win, not even just get nominated. So I'm really excited to see that come to fruition. And my goodness, I also have to talk about the cinematography by Matthew Libatique, who, honestly, this could be his best. Obviously, I think Oppenheimer has the edge when it comes to, you know, perhaps winning cinematography, but I think that this and Zone of Interest are quite better, and I think if there's going to be any upset in any category, I think Maestro could quite frankly win cinematography. It's so sweeping, it's so epic, it's just so perfectly controlled and reeled in. Like, yet again, of course, credit to Cooper as a director, but I think Libatique just brings so much expertise to the cameras in this film. The lenses that they use, everything about it is just absolutely amazing. And I could go on and on about the technical stuff all day and how great these two performers are in the leading roles in this film. But I do have some criticisms with this movie, because for a lot of it, I was absolutely loving it. Because this film, quite frankly, contains some of my favorite moments from any film this year, like Star is Born, but probably even more so, because there's quite a few impressionistic sequences in this film that really stun, unbelievably so, but also just some amazing character work and acting work, obviously, from the two leads that are poured into very integral moments in the film that just left me stunned and absolutely awestruck. But my goodness, I mean, the scene where Bernstein conducts Mahler is just absolutely breathtaking. For about 6 minutes, you are absolutely glued to the screen. Yet again, this is why I think Bradley Cooper does deserve his roses, because the specificity poured into just that one scene, just the emotion, the physicality of that entire sequence, you can feel him pouring everything he has into that one scene. I mean, as he said, it took him 6 years to prepare and conduct that one sequence in the film. And as much as you can go on about how great the Live Aid sequence is in Bohemian Rhapsody, that doesn't have shit on this. I mean, yet again, my goodness, I'm just blown away by Cooper in so many facets of this film. But my problems with this movie really come down to the structure of it, because there are so many great moments, but the first half of this film is quite choppy. I'm going to be honest, the way they're jumping around between time periods, and then of course the relationship that Bernstein has with Matt Bomer's character in this right from the beginning, I feel doesn't really have a good sense of finality to it at all. In the way, like, he'll be with him and then they cut to him and Felicia, and it feels like there was a lot missing in that story, and just in the first half in general. And of course, as I mentioned earlier with Cooper at first, I think the first section of this movie is a little over the top. They overdid it a little bit with the 40s dialogue and aesthetics. It's not bad, but there's just a couple moments where it just really sticks out like a sore thumb. And another thing is, too, I think that, you know, especially the second half is quite incredible, I would say. I was absolutely loving it, but yet again, as I talked about the structure, it's one of those things where I am a big stickler for it, and so, you know, you want to leave a good taste in your audience's mouth, per se, by the end of the narrative. And I really thought that the ending was so abrupt to this film, and I genuinely think I would have taken a good 7 minutes or more to kind of flesh out that ending, because it just, there's so much that happens, and then it just kind of ends like that, and I just was like, huh? It just left me a little cold, especially considering how wrapped up I was in the drama of the rest of the film. And also, there's a terrible, terrible needle drop of REM's It's the End of the World as We Know It. And I'm like, okay, I love that song, but you really have to be so on the nose with Leonard Bernstein. I mean, it is genuine. Like, they make it clear. Like, it's not just subtly playing in the background. I guess his license plate in that scene also says Maestro. So, yeah, not the most subtle moment in the film, though a lot of this film really is about the subtlety between Leonard and Felicia's interactions and the nuance there in their marriage. I really love how a lot of the dialogue is written. It feels very natural, very real, and yet again opens up so much. Like, I've heard people throw criticism at this movie that it feels a little surface level and something you could just look up on Wikipedia, and I completely disagree. I feel like you really get a great grasp of who Leonard Bernstein was as a person, not even as much as a musician. Like, I'm fine with the fact that they didn't really highlight a lot of the big moments of his career, because this really is a story about the marriage between him and Felicia, and you really understand where both these characters are throughout this entire film, and certainly by the end. Yet again, if someone told me that this was one of their favorite movies of the year, I would completely understand, because for the most part, I was absolutely loving this film, but there's just a few things that really hold it back from being quite exceptional. I do like this a bit more than A Star is Born, I must be honest with you all, but I still didn't quite love it. It came very, very close, but like I said, structure is a big thing for me, but also I think Bradley Cooper still needs to find a bit of footing when it comes to that. I think it comes down more to the screenplay. I certainly see something like May December getting nominated over this, if I'm being entirely honest. I think the screenplay is going to split hairs for some people and some members of the voting body, the Academy for that matter. So, yet again, if it gets in, I get it, but I think that there are probably a few more deserving nominees over Cooper and Josh Singer for this. But regardless, I absolutely understand the hype behind this. I would not say that this is a disappointment in the slightest. I feel like perhaps in the future I could rewatch this again and love it even more. But as of now, I'm going to give it a very, very, very high 8 out of 10. This is an absolute must-watch at the very least. Definitely one of the best-made films of the year. Rooting for Bradley Cooper for Best Director and Best Actor to an extent. I mean, I can't believe this guy doesn't have an Oscar yet. And you watch something like this, and you can tell just how dedicated of an artist he is. And it is just unbelievable to see how far he's come in the past 10 years or more. If we're becoming like this, kind of rom-com guy to legitimately one of the best actors of his generation, without question. And Carey Mulligan, yet again, continues to prove why she's one of the best in the business. And yeah, guys, definitely check out Maestro. It's a great testament to this marriage and a great testament to an incredibly important and impactful figure in American music. So yeah, guys, that's my review of Maestro. What did you think about it? Let me know down in the comments below. Are you watching it on Netflix this weekend? Have you already seen it? Are you going to see it in theaters even? I think that this is a film, if you are in an area where it's playing, it facilitates being seen on a big screen because it is so sweeping in all the best of ways. You should absolutely check it out. And of course, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here, of course, for the first time and want to see more movie reviews like this. There's definitely going to be more coming your way, like Poor Things, that I am beyond excited to see. That one is probably my most anticipated for the rest of the year. Nothing even comes close. As well as Sean Durkin's The Iron Claw, which is another one I'm really looking forward to see. So yeah, guys, until the next movie review, you guys take it easy and keep watching those movies. We'll talk soon.